The sun is essential for life. It helps to regulate the temperature of our planet, which in turn allows humans and animals to survive. It also provides us with energy from its rays that we can harness using solar panels. But there's another benefit to sunlight that many people are unaware of. It can improve your mood. A study published in the Journal of Affective Disorders found that people who spend more time outside in natural light have fewer symptoms of depression. There has been a huge decline in people's exposure to the sun over the past few decades, thanks to a variety of factors, such as increased use of artificial lighting indoors and more time spent looking at screens. This has led to what some experts are calling a global epidemic of vitamin D deficiency. What's worse, a lack of sunshine may be contributing to other health problems too. From disrupted sleep patterns to weaker bones, here are some shocking truths about what happens when you don't get enough sun. Number 1. You may not be able to get a good night's sleep. There are a number of factors that affect the quality of your sleep, such as stress, caffeine intake, and the amount of daylight you're exposed to. A study published in the journal Current Biology found that exposure to bright light in the morning can help you stay awake and alert during the day, making it easier to fall asleep at night. On the other hand, too much exposure to sunlight too close to bedtime can make it harder to fall asleep. So if you want to improve your sleep quality, try spending some time outside in the morning and avoid strenuous activity or bright light exposure in the hours before bed. Number 2, your bones may become weaker. Sunlight is a major source of vitamin D, which is essential for strong bones. In fact, the body gets most of its vitamin D from the sun, with only small amounts coming from food. Exposure to sunlight causes the skin to produce vitamin D3, which then converts to vitamin D in the liver and kidneys. Vitamin D is important for bone health because it helps the body absorb calcium, which is a key mineral for strong bones. Unfortunately, many people don't get enough vitamin D, which can lead to a variety of problems, including osteoporosis, a condition in which the bones become weak and brittle. According to the National Institutes of Health, an estimated 30% of Americans have vitamin D deficiency, and studies have shown that low levels of vitamin D are associated with an increased risk of fractures. So if you want to keep your bones strong, make sure you're getting enough sun. Number 3, you may have a higher risk of certain cancers. While too much sun exposure can increase your risk of certain cancers, such as skin cancer, there is evidence that moderate amounts of sun exposure may actually reduce the risk of other cancers, such as breast and colon cancer. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that people who had higher levels of vitamin D in their blood were less likely to develop colorectal cancer. Another study published in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute found that people who spent more time outdoors had a lower risk of pre- and postmenopausal breast cancer. The exact mechanism by which sunlight may reduce cancer risk is not clear, but it is thought that vitamin D plays a role. As mentioned earlier, vitamin D is produced in the skin upon exposure to sunlight. And since vitamin D is important for immune function, it is possible that adequate vitamin D levels may help the body fight off cancerous cells. However, it is important to note that the American Academy of Dermatology still recommends taking precautions to protect against skin cancer, even for people with adequate vitamin D levels. Number 4, your immune system may suffer. As we age, our immune systems become weaker, which makes us more susceptible to illness and disease. One way to boost the immune system as we age is through exposure to sunlight. A study published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology found that exposure to sunlight can increase the production of antimicrobial peptides, which are small proteins that help to fight off infection. Additionally, vitamin D, which is produced in the skin upon exposure to sunlight, has been shown to have immunomodulatory effects, meaning that it can help to regulate the immune system. People with autoimmune disorders such as rheumatoid arthritis and multiple sclerosis may benefit from exposure to sunlight as well. A study published in the Annals of the Rheumatic Diseases found that exposure to sunlight was associated with a lower risk of developing these disorders. So if you want to boost your immune system, make sure you're getting enough sun. Number 5, you may be at risk of depression. Sunlight is a major regulator of our internal body clock, which is why it is so important for maintaining healthy sleep patterns. When we are exposed to sunlight, our brains receive signals that tell us it is daytime and that we should be awake and alert. This helps to regulate the production of hormones, such as cortisol and melatonin, which in turn affect our sleep-wake cycle. Disruptions to our body clock, such as those caused by jet lag or shift work, can lead to a misalignment between our internal rhythms and the 24-hour day. This can result in insomnia, fatigue, irritability, and depression. A study published in the journal JAMA Psychiatry found that people who were exposed to more sunlight had a lower risk of developing depression. So if you want to keep your mood stable, make sure you're getting enough sun. Number 6. You may have a higher risk of high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a common condition that affects millions of people worldwide. It is often called the silent killer because it can cause damage to the heart and blood vessels without any noticeable symptoms. High blood pressure can lead to serious complications such as heart disease, stroke, and kidney disease. One way to reduce your risk of developing high blood pressure is by getting enough sunlight. A study published in the journal Hypertension found that people who were exposed to more sunlight had lower blood pressure levels. The exact mechanism by which sunlight may help to lower blood pressure is not clear, but it is thought that vitamin D plays a role. As mentioned earlier, vitamin D is produced in the skin upon exposure to sunlight, and vitamin D has been shown to have a number of health benefits, including improved immune function, reduced inflammation, and regulation of the body's internal clock. All of these factors may contribute to the development of high blood pressure, making it possible that adequate vitamin D levels could help to keep blood pressure under control. Number 7. You may have a higher risk of autoimmune disorders. As mentioned earlier, autoimmune disorders such as rheumatoid arthritis and multiple sclerosis are conditions in which the immune system mistakenly attacks the body's own tissues. While the exact causes of autoimmune disorders are unknown, it is thought that both genetic and environmental factors play a role. One theory is that a lack of exposure to sunlight may increase the risk of developing autoimmune disorders. This is because exposure to sunlight helps to boost the immune system, and vitamin D, which is produced in the skin upon exposure to sunlight, has been shown to have immunomodulatory effects. A study published in the journal Clinical Rheumatology found that people who had low levels of vitamin D in their blood were at an increased risk of developing rheumatoid arthritis. Another study published in the journal Neurology found that low levels of vitamin D were associated with an increased risk of multiple sclerosis. So if you want to reduce your risk of developing autoimmune disorders, make sure you're getting enough sun. And number 8, you may not be able to regulate your body temperature effectively. Our ability to regulate our body temperature is essential for survival. When we get too hot, our bodies will sweat in order to cool down. And when we get too cold, our bodies will shiver in order to generate heat. However, some people have difficulty regulating their body temperature, which can lead to a number of problems. For example, people with hypothyroidism may feel cold all the time because their bodies are not able to produce enough heat. Similarly, people with diabetes may have difficulty regulating their blood sugar levels, which can lead to excessive thirst and urination. One way to improve our body's ability to regulate temperature is through exposure to sunlight. A study published in the journal Diabetes Care found that exposure to sunlight could help people with type 1 diabetes to better regulate their blood sugar levels. The researchers believe that this may be due to the effects of sunlight on the body's internal clock, which regulates a number of important bodily functions, including metabolism. So if you're having trouble regulating your body temperature, try spending some time outside in the sun. In conclusion, it's clear that sunlight is essential for good health, from regulating our body's internal clock to boosting the immune system. There are a lot of benefits to be gained from spending time outside in the sun. Of course, it's important to take precautions to protect against skin cancer. But for most people, the risks of skin cancer are outweighed by the potential benefits of sun exposure. So, next time you're feeling a little blue or run down, try spending some time outside in the sun. You may just be surprised at how quickly your mood improves. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.